What's going on? You guys are listening to the Ruined Radio podcast, vodcast, because we're videoing. You can head on over to YouTube to check that out. Otherwise, you just get to listen to all of our boring voices. And this is me and my best radio voice.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's real nice.
Right?
Immediately gets deep.
I think I should probably keep my day job. To my left, I have Justin Forshaw. Beside him, Robert Venable from Off the Wall Studios, award-winning producer and engineer. And then Lukey Luke.
It's good to be here.
Pukey Lou.
Pukey Luke.
Oh, you sounded so formal.
Puke Luke.
It's good to be here.
It's good to be, yeah.
Just want to shout out to my...
He does jazz radio
my mom.
on Saturday night.
Shout out to David Effelson if you're watching.
I think
this.
it's Ellefson.
Ellefson.
So what's going on?
Not a lot here.
Hanging out. It's Thanksgiving time. I have to say I don't have any Christmas decorations up anywhere in my home, and I'm very happy about that.
I am on board with you on that.
I still have Halloween
There's already
decorations.
like all the stuff in my house.
There's like
No,
rotting
no.
pumpkins. I'm that guy.
Thanksgiving is its own holiday, so it's not until after Thanksgiving that a tree or a wreath or anything is allowed to be hung in my house at all.
I think
Yeah, that's a
I like that
spirit.
rule.
That's how
You know,
get people
I
in the
think-
Christmas mood.
I don't know. I wonder all the time if life is seeming like it's speeding by to everyone as fast as it seems like it's going to me. But I kind of understand why people would do that, because you feel like, oh my gosh, it's 4th of July. It's going to be Christmas like next week. I mean, before you know it, it's going to be, Walmart's going to have Christmas decorations up right after Valentine's Day.
Or just leave them up all year round.
Dude, there are many people
Christmas
in this
lights
area that do that. The lights and the Santa Claus and the snowman.
Well, I don't think that. I think that's just because they don't take their stuff.
Well, no, that's why. But I don't blame them. I'm pretty lazy. I do the same thing.
But then they call them 4th of July lights, and then here are my Thanksgiving lights.
They just
They
happen
just
to
turn
be
them on for
red
all
and
different
green.
reasons.
You know, there's something to be. I think there's something to be learned from that.
I still have my Halloween stickers on the windows, if that counts for anything. I don't know
The
how long they're
spider
going to
webs.
last, but they're going strong right now. I feel like Thanksgiving gets kind of the shaft because Halloween, they have stores now at the mall. Like, I went into a store, it was probably the coolest, largest department store in the mall just for Halloween stuff, and I think they tore it down. But I know there's not going to be a Thanksgiving store. Who would shop there?
We should open the first Thanksgiving store.
Good.
What would we carry in the Thanksgiving store?
Turkeys,
Turkeys,
live
pilgrims.
turkeys.
Live turkey. You pick your own turkey
Ooh,
and have it ready by Thanksgiving.
Just like Red Lobster with the lobsters.
We could do,
like the wings are like
Grow your
rubber
own
band
turkey.
behind it. Which one do you guys want?
we could do little miniature pilgrim figurines, like a collectible series.
Huge 6 foot tall, sad and Native American Indians.
Muzzle.
Fresh from the Trail of Tears. That's terrible.
that is awful.
the kids could ride a
Yeah,
turkey.
that is.
I would ride a turkey.
Well, I don't think they make turkeys that big.
Have you ever seen a turkey not that big?
Yes.
I rest my case.
I recently just discovered, I think one of you guys were talking about the fact that they live up in trees. I don't know how that works.
Wait a
out,
minute,
but
that's right.
They do. Yeah.
They can fly.
I never
in
knew
trees,
they
yeah.
did that.
What? Because turkeys can fly, right?
They can.
just
Of course,
don't.
yeah.
Not for long periods of time. It takes a lot of energy to lift that
Yeah.
kind of bird.
Yeah.
You
Well, they're
don't
not
see
always.
them migrating.
They don't. They're not all butterball status until later. I mean, I've seen them and they're pretty pathetic. Like off season, they're just skinny little guys running around. But like towards
'Cause
the
they-
end, yeah, they eat.
Don't they starve
hibernate.
themselves or something like that?
To
when
mate.
they're mating or something? Yeah.
Well, they
it's
don't
like-
have like people giving where they just start hunting people and eat them once a year. So
Or do they?
Or do they?
It's true.
Well, it's-
It's very
Some
true.
cultures, South America.
Oh my.
South American people hunting.
Cannibals, yeah.
the South American turkeys. Watch out for those.
Look out.
The what is it, the undiscovered tribe? What do they call those? The South American.
Literally every
In the Amazon?
indigenous tribe of South America.
Yeah.
Aborigines.
They still find
Aborigines, yeah.
tribes that have never met white people. That would be pretty cool. That'd be a cool first.
I was just watching a documentary and they were like doing flyovers of these tribes and they were.
Just blown away by the planes.
I mean, they're living the same way they've been living for 2,000 or 3,000 years. Like their paints and their what do they must think that like we're angels or gods or something and they're in our airplanes.
Right? Aliens.
I think so.
All that's
The
going through my mind is
loincloth never
missions
goes
trip,
out of
mission trip,
fashion,
mission
man.
trip.
Loincloth never goes out of fashion.
I'm wearing mine right now.
Clothes of heaven. Yeah, you are. Nice.
I'm naked under all my clothes right now.
What?
I figured that.
True story.
How did you know? Is what I want to know.
Law of physics.
Well, under your clothes, you're naked. That's
It's a quantum mechanics thing. I'm into that,
You am so smart. You brain good.
you brain good.
What do we got? What's up to? What are we talking about today,
vaping
man?
right now. So, that's a good topic. We can talk
George
about
Vapor over here.
Got the hookup from Dan at eVapes in Spring Hill.
Man, e-vapors. Those
Dude.
guys are really good to us.
Oh, if we're gonna do a shout out, my people,
Who's your people?
Citizen. I don't even know if that's on camera, but there it is. Cigars, e-cigars, and these are amazing.
Very classy.
No, those are cool. You should show the camera.
Well,
That looks like a real cigar.
it looks like a real cigar. It's got paper wrap on it, and when you vape, I guess
it lights up.
it lights up on
Orange.
the end.
That's cool.
Oh, that's
And you can
awesome.
bite on it. I've got my bite marks. Sorry. Yeah.
Is it
Whatever.
is it like plastic, like a soft plastic?
This is paper. I mean, you can
Is
feel
it?
it here where I'm not
Man.
biting. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's got a little
Mind
bit of a-
blown.
Very
And it
Godfather
smells
It has like
good.
of you.
a little leaf imprints, so it looks like it's a real cigar. I could go to a casino and fool a lot of people.
You,
High roller.
I've got like the transformer. It could turn into a car at any moment. Vape right here. This is with some strawberry, like pound cake or something in it. I don't know.
It smells like Trix, like the cereal to me. And that's what I said when I came in earlier. It smells like
Yeah.
Smells like air
That's
freshener.
definitely him. I'm not really into the fruity flavors, but I have a vanilla bourbon with a little bit of mint because I like that clean, smooth aftershoot. Boom.
I'm rocking chocolate. This is the chocolate flavor.
chocolate.
So I think vaping is a really interesting topic because there are a lot of people that love it, enjoy it all the time. There are people who move to vaping from cigarette smoking. There are people who just who get it with no nicotine that just enjoy the flavors. There's also something really fun. I don't know why. I mean, it's just a dude thing, but filling up a room with vapor. It's vapor.
Yeah.
Very, very
But
fun.
I've heard some kickback, especially from kind of the Christian community about it. I really don't know exactly the stance. I've not really talked to anyone at length about it, but just as comparing it to something like cigarette smoking, where cigarettes, you're hurting your body. It can easily be an addiction where you have to have it. I think from an addiction standpoint, anything can be an addiction. I think a lot of people have addictions to all kinds of things that are just maybe more socially acceptable, like television, video games, soda, food, that we don't talk about as much, but something that can kind of be equated with cigarette smoking or even marijuana. A lot of people, when I walk into a circle of friends or maybe people that don't know me might look at this and say, "Oh, what do you got in there?"
Yeah, what you got in there, boy? Some of
Strawberry,
that wacky
vanilla.
tobacco.
So
I think it might be because it's a new thing. Vaping's new. It's
Pretty new,
It's
yeah.
a few years. Whereas some people are kind of scared of the idea. They don't know. They have the bad rap from when they first came out. Yeah, people were using it for recreational purposes, of marijuana or whatever it may be that they're putting in there, and a lot of people still do. But I think until it becomes more of the norm, you start seeing more of these than you do actual cigarettes. When people understand this is healthier, we're going to live longer, whatever it may be. I'm sure. I don't know. I don't vape regularly like other people, but I don't know if it costs less to vape than it does to smoke. Then until that threshold changes over to more people vaping, I think that we're going to have a lot of criticism or judging without knowing what's going on. It's just
Yeah.
from the outside looking in, they're like, they're probably doing something shady with that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but once I think everybody starts having them, they're like, oh, good for everybody making stuff healthier, making it better,
Yeah.
saving some money. Maybe
sure,
they're
yeah.
nice people and they're not just pagan hippie pot smokers. I don't know.
It's definitely the modern take on smoking, but then with
tribal,
like
man.
smoking cigarettes, you're like burning something, and there's actually like 7,000 different chemicals you see on the commercials that your body's taking in. But like with vaping, it's just like taking 3 or 4 different things. You have flavor, freaking vegetable glycerin, which is in like every vape, and then you have like nicotine for some people, and you just turn it into like an aerosol.
Yeah.
So, but then I think I was talking to my roommate Michelob. He's a very wise guy, and I learned.
Of course he is.
I
He
know,
has the name
that's his
Michelob.
real name. I think that's his real name. He's like a lighting tech, so he's always in his room like soldering lights, and he's a super rad guy. And he was telling me like the big thing with vaping is It's basically taking like vegetable glycerin into your lungs, and I guess like scientists or whoever's researching it is like, or just like curious if your lungs can actually metabolize vegetable glycerin, or is it just gonna like coat your inside of your lungs? But the thing is, there's not enough time to like do the research. I know if you've
there was, and I don't know who did the research, so to quote it is pretty foolish, but somebody did do some research, and they had lung cells being fed tobacco smoke and vape, and it was clear there was no damage. They compared it to just breathing air. So
Wow.
yeah, there was no cell deterioration.
So my mom is a smoker. She's been a smoker for a long time, 30 or more years. And she recently just picked up her first vape. It'd be a vaping pen. It looks like a pen. And they were telling her how to use it. And I don't know how true this is or not, but they were, they weren't trying to sell it to her. She already had purchased it. They were just explaining how to use it. And they were saying that the vape, if you've been smoking for a long time, the water vapor, juice vapor that goes into your lungs helps clean some of the tar off over time. It will, I guess if you're a heavy smoker then you go to...
That's actually interesting that you say that, because like vegetable glycerin is like in everybody's vapes juice. But then my grandpa makes soap, and like one of the biggest ingredients in soap is glycerin. So, and the type of ingredients that he uses is just straight like raw vegetable glycerin. So basically it just makes me think, I may be like speaking in ignorance, but am I just like vaping soap?
Yes.
Well, I mean, if you're putting it on your skin absorbs it. I mean, they did a study about women using, lotions and makeup products, and you absorb that. Like, it's into your bloodstream.
For sure, yeah.
So, I mean, whether it's going in your lungs or if it's just going through your skin.
Yeah. Well, as Christian men who, we tour, we play in front of people, we're in the public a lot. We've gone back and forth a bunch about, okay, well, should we let people know that this is something we enjoy? Should we hide it? Because people start asking questions, you try to avoid the appearance of evil. And does vaping fall into the category of appearing evil? I personally don't think it does. And we were talking with a band, Southbound Fearing. I'll give a shout out to those guys. But they have a deal with a vapor company that, if they put stickers on their tour van and if they mention them on social media, then, then they get a deal or whatever on their juice. And so we talked to them about that and said, well, hey, aren't you afraid maybe of what your fans will say? Have you gotten any kickback? And they said, no, they hadn't. But why wouldn't you support and promote a life-saving technology?
Yeah, that was their exact quote, the life-saving technology. It's true.
So
I'm saving lives. I'm serious, man. Maybe it's just mine, but I'm saving it.
Come on, man.
Yeah. I do what I can.
So vaping,
soaping it up.
E-vapors, that's where we go.
I'm feeling your studio right now. I mean, this is my second time in here, but it's the first time really like looking around, because when I was in here, I was talking to you guys and all day to day and working, so focusing on the rig. Just looking around, it looks good.
Now, Robert, this is Robert Venable here. You, like I said, award-winning. You've been nominated for Grammys. You've won several Dove Awards. You've engineered for huge artists, Kelly Clarkson. And this is your full-time gig. This is what you do, and you have a studio, Off the Wall Studios in Franklin.
Yeah, man.
So I've been to your place. I love your studio.
Thanks. You're saying that because I said that about yours.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
No, but I think here. This is my studio. You can see it in the video, and there's this room and another room that we track in, and I think a lot of people would be very surprised to find out the type of environment that a recording studio is, and what people use as recording studios, as professional recording studios, to get the sound you need.
It's true, and I think that a lot of that has to do with the movies and TV shows, and the show Nashville even.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they see this, and they have this glamorous idea of what all these records are being tracked in. And I've worked with, like you said, all right, perfect example. Kelly Clarkson record. I recorded the drums in a room smaller than a bedroom in my studio. In my control room, which is the room we're sitting in now of your studio, is comparably sized, just a little different shaped, I guess, maybe a little longer. It's the bedroom size rooms that we're recording in, and we don't have the big consoles, but we have all the same gear that these studios have, or we have enough that we need that we can run the microphones through. And a lot of people have this misconception that when they don't go in there and they see the huge, acres long of wood floors and tons of faders and buttons and knobs and ceilings that are 30 feet tall and 20-foot consoles, it's like, this must not be a real studio. Like, let me tell you, all of the albums I've worked on and won awards for and nominated for Grammys and stuff were tracked in rooms the size of your bedroom.
Yeah.
And it's possible, and it's done all over Nashville, especially. Over 500 studios in the Nashville area, and everybody's tracking in rooms. I mean, there's the 3 or 4 or 5 big ones that you've heard of, Blackbird and Dark Horse and Sound Kitchen and stuff like that. And those are legends. They sound great, but people are getting very comparable sounds in studios and our size. And we're recording the same quality stuff on smaller budgets.
Yeah.
On our own time. We don't have to worry about, we have a 12-hour session today. We have to get it done in 12 hours. We can get it done today. If we don't finish it today, we'll do it tomorrow if we don't have anything booked. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So working in smaller rooms is definitely one of the things that's happening a lot these days, and I have no problem with it. It's just a lot of people have that misconstrued misunderstanding, or they come in and like, where this is not what we thought this was.
Kind of ties into last week. We were talking about the perception of rock stars and fame and fortune, having lots of money because you're in a rock band and you're signed to a major label. And I think a lot of people carry that into a professional environment like this. They kind of think that that's what they're going to get all the time, and the quality's there. But as far as having baseball size field to record in, you don't need it.
Need a 300 channel Neve, and
and that's also funny when people come in and they're like, "Hey, my voice sounds best on a Neumann U87 through a Neve 1083."
Sure it does.
I'll be the judge of that. Let's.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've got that stuff. Let's see what happens. But in the meantime, let's do what I think your voice will sound right in, or whatever I want.
Yeah, that's why they hired you. Man, I think it's people. How often do you actually need a 48 channel console when you're tracking something?
Well, how often are you tracking 48 microphones at once?
I was going to say, you got a 5-piece rock band.
Exactly.
We need
with an orchestra behind
mic
them.
up the floor, mic up the walls, mic up the shirts.
Really like the tone of this sheetrock here.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done 18 mics on a drum kit, or 4 drums, like a couple on the, all the drums, sometimes underneath the drums, the overheads, the room mics, further room mics, an effect mic, that kind of stuff. That's just me being crazy. You don't need.
I want to ask you about that. Tracking drums.
Yeah.
So tracking drums, I think, is probably the most difficult thing to do well. And I've read tons of forums, and I read a lot of times, the fewer mics, the better sound you get. And
I'm gonna stop you right there. Better is totally up to whoever's the person saying the word better.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're gonna say, Metallica is better than Megadeth. Megadeth's better than Metallica. Nirvana, Pearl Jam, whatever. Beatles, Rolling Stones, whatever it may be. Everybody's gonna have their opinion.
Yeah.
So the people saying, "Hey, use 3 mics on a drum kit sound better." It might for a song.
Yeah.
For a song that needs 3 mics on a drum kit.
Yeah.
Might not for a metal song that needs all the drums close mic'd, so
and
you
then
can
lots of triggers.
trigger them later.
Lots of samples. Yeah. Actually, we didn't need the drum kit at all. Go figure.
You can just hit this. I mean, you could. Sorry, I interrupted you, but yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. That's valuable information, because it really kind of attacks that ideal. One size fits all. I need 12, 14 inputs for doing drums. Would you say that maybe on a smaller budget, say, you've got 6 or 8 pre's available, could you get a great huge drum sound?
Definitely. Completely, and I've done it. You have to decide what kind of genre, well, the genre and the song, of course. And what's important, you need the kick and snare for sure, and you need to hear some cymbals.
Yeah.
Make sure you have the drums. If they're playing tom heavy stuff, you have to have those toms mic'd. Other than that, you don't need room mics. You can, today, all the DAWs, everybody's using the DAWs, whatever you want to call it, Pro Tools, Logic, Cubase, Nuendo, everything. They all have reverb plugins. And if you get a good reverb plugin or even a crappy reverb plugin, or a reverb plugin that comes with your DAW, you can manipulate it and make it sound like you have a room at your disposal. Like,
Yeah.
Ocean Way Drums has Blackbird Studios room algorithms in it. So he's
wow.
like, hey, let's pretend like we're in Blackbird Studio B or whatever. So you plug that up and put it on your drum bus, and all of a sudden you were in Blackbird Studio B. It's not exactly like it, but it's very close, and I've used it on records before.
It's kind of amazing. You can spend thousands of dollars on good microphones, good preamps, great drums, a space to do it, treating it properly so that you have a place to do good drums, or you can spend, a few $100 on a piece of software that now it's getting more and more difficult to tell the difference. What do you think of that? Being a drummer who owns and operates a studio, and by the way, you get amazing sounds.
Thanks. Treating the room is important, so let's not discount that. Because if you're playing loud, how loud is a drum or a cymbal when you hit it? You're gonna cover your ears if you're right next to it. Right. That sound is bouncing off these walls and continues bouncing off these walls, and is hitting the microphone every time it does that. So with that continuously going on, it all of a sudden gets chaotic, it gets loud, it gets muddy. So treating the room is going to be important for sure. And Lester, my business partner, and I, in the 3 studios we've owned together in the Nashville area, the first thing we do, we're going to be able to track drums in here. Because you're right, people, when they listen to a record, if the drums sound crappy, or if listen to listen to this recording I did, you listen to it, you hear that drum sound, it sounds like someone put a blanket over the drum kit, or the triggers are so bad, it sounds like a machine gun, and that kind of stuff. You can tell they don't know what they're doing with drums. So let's make sure our drums are right. Everything else will come naturally after that. But drum sounds are huge, so treating the room is good. Plugins, you don't need thousands of dollars of plugins, especially for drums. Like a lot of my mixes you'll look at, I don't have a lot of stuff going on the drums. A little bit of compression, sometimes some reverb on the snare if I need it, or overall. But I'm not putting 2 or 3 plugins on every channel like I would. Vocals, I'll have 4 to 8 plugins on it if I needed it or whatever. But you don't need it. If your drums are tuned and your player knows how to play the drums, get in a good room, make sure you can even do it with crappy mics. I use really cheap mics. I have the expensive mics. I use really cheap mics on my drums, on my kick, snare, and toms, and overheads, and rooms. Thinking about my whole signal chain. I've got Coles. I've got Royers. I've got the 421s. I've got all the stuff for all you gearheads. That's expensive stuff that all the big studios use all the time in Nashville. And I use the $99 Audix snare drum mic, the i5.
Yeah.
Well,
and
D6s on toms, and it's the stuff that I use on these big records.
Something about drums and microphones. Drums nowadays, especially, you're really kind of either going for the big rock sound, which you want somewhat trashy sounding, loud, aggressive, harsh mics. You want the drums to be able to cut through and be nice and loud.
Yeah.
And then, or you're doing maybe an alternative record, and you kind of want you don't want it to sound amazing. You want
that room sound. You want it to sound like you're standing in the room with the drums.
Yeah.
Which might be one of those records you use 3 mics on.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Graham Cochran at the Recording Revolution? So Graham, I don't know him personally, but I've been following the Recording Revolution for a few years now, and it's really, really interesting. He, from what I understand, has a home studio, but he's aimed at the home studio and how you can make amazing records on incredibly low budgets using stock plugins if you can't afford nice plugins.
Yeah.
You don't have to have really expensive microphones if you can't afford them. His point is that what makes good sounds is knowledge of mic placement and knowledge of processing the sound, getting good EQ and good compression, using it properly.
Right.
And that's what makes stuff sound good. Having a good microphone just makes those things better.
Sure.
But you could fool probably the majority of people with pretty inexpensive gear. He even went so far as to make he recorded an entire song for $300, start to finish, live drums, live everything. He purchased one microphone, one 2-channel interface, and used maybe GarageBand or something. And he spent a significant amount of time showing each step, how to make it sound good. Can you use one microphone on the drums?
Yeah.
For the song he did, it worked great. He just really had to work to find the sweet spot, turn it into 3 different tracks, EQ'd
Right.
and compressed them differently. But it's I was joking with Robert earlier about, I want to write a book. The rules of, audio engineering and producing, and it would be a big blank book, and at the end just say, make it sound good.
Make it sound good.
If it sounds good, it is good.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how you get there to the end. I mean, no one's going to see how you got there unless you're
Yeah.
videotaping and video blogging it like this is happening. But no one's going to see how you got to the end product that's coming through your iPod or whatever.
I just use presets on everything. I have no time. I just waves presets.
CLA.
Boom, 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 boom. A couple of mixed buses, do a couple side chains, done. It's over.
That's what I saw on YouTube, man.
That's it.
It's on YouTube. It's real.
It's so funny. I spent so much time coming up, trying to learn the craft, reading books, reading blogs and forums, message forums, and it can get really confusing really fast because you have so many people saying so many different things. Don't ever put anything on your master bus.
Don't ever do it.
Nothing on your master fader. You should be able to get a good mix without that. If you put something on your master fader, you're cheating.
Yeah, everybody's an
And
expert.
then you got the
online.
guys that say put everything on the master chain. That's all you need to do.
And it's just
Complete option.
it's all irrelevant. It's make it sound good. Make it sound good. If you make it sound good by lots
your
of plugins, great.
And if you make it sound good on your own standards, not if you make it sound good to what you think everybody else wants to hear. But if you're happy with it and it sounds good to you and that's your end result, good for you. You're done.
You win.
Yeah. I mean, how long does it take to mix a song? It's like saying how long is a piece of string? It's wherever you cut it. You can mix it for 10 years and keep changing things and going back and going, you know what, I should change this.
Yeah.
And you'll never
Very
be done.
true.
So it's one of those things. If you're mixing for radio, there's a format and there's a cookie cutter way to do it, and you have to kind of fall into that cookie cutter, that template. But if you're mixing if you're making a record for yourself, for your fans, make it so it sounds good to you and you're done.
Yeah.
Call it done.
Yeah.
Well, with that, let's go into some studio etiquette. What are some things that people have done and said that are just knucklehead? Just what are some things that you've experienced? You guys are both well-rounded. What do you
I can go for
what's the first thing they come in? They're like, "Hey man, what are we gonna do over here? Brought this Randall in, man. It's my signature tone. That's what we're gonna use."
I will give it a shot. I'll give it a
All
shot.
right,
You bring in
let's
your
get a
amp.
good laugh.
I'll give you a lap. And I've done that once and it surprised me and I used it. A solid state. I don't remember what it was. Crap. A crate. It was a solid state crate,
Ooh.
little combo thing.
Wow.
Sassy.
And I used it on a metal record and I loved it.
Great.
There you
That's-
go.
Yeah, I mean,
Crate is
Tones in the
known
finger.
in the guitar world as Crate takes the butt of all guitar amp jokes.
I mean, it's a lot of beginners who are just getting started and want to see, before I sink $2,000 into a nice amp, let me buy a crate. I can
if I
still
even
get that
like this.
distortion.
Yeah.
I am Dimebag Daryl right now.
I started on a Crate. That was
I know,
my-
a lot of
I had
people
a
do.
crate,
Crate
212
212.
crate was my stepdad's. Loved it.
yeah.
So awesome.
I used one on a record. And I was like, I laughed this guy out until he plugged it in. I mic'd it up. I'm like, okay, that sounds good. To answer your question, number one thing pisses me off. Sorry, Grandma. Is when people come in and they start offering their opinion. If everybody's a producer in the room, you know what I mean. Like, I was hired to produce the song. When the guitar player's like, hey, we need to turn the guitars up right there. Or, what if we do this? Hey, what if you use this instead of this? Ideas are cool when I ask for ideas, or when I'm like, okay, hey guys, let's throw input in. But when you don't know what I'm thinking 3 steps ahead, like, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Or shut up and sit down. Because the guitars want to hear more guitars. That'd be you guys. The singers want to
I
hear
would be
more
shocked
vocals.
if a guitar
drummer-
player's like, no,
yeah.
less. We're not going to do that. We need a little bit more guitar. That'll never happen.
Yeah. So yeah, drummers are probably napping already, so they don't really care. Bass players.
Drummers
just
always
there.
track first.
Yes. Drummers always track first. So my biggest pet peeve is when you come into the studio, you just keep your mouth closed, especially if you're interning or assisting. I know you want to be a producer, and you'll get there. Just
Yeah.
today, you weren't hired to produce; you were hired to clean the toilets and take the trash out.
They
That's not trying to say around arrogant. It's just I was that guy. I took the trash out and made coffee, and I did that for months.
yeah.
And I kept my mouth closed, and that's how I got jobs later. They started offering me positions to
Earn
do.
your stripes, yeah.
Yeah. So if people are doing that and immediately expect to get their hands on faders and buttons and start saying, "Hey, what if we do this? Let's do this. Let's do this." I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right, man. Don't come back tomorrow."
Man, that's a great point. The keep your mouth shut and no suggestions unless you're don't speak unless spoken to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not Nazi about it. It's just turn your cell phones off.
I've been in your
Just be
studio. I've
quiet.
seen you punch some people before.
Those kids deserved it.
Yeah, the kids always need to get punched.
And their moms,
It's good.
too.
That's
My mom,
this kid wasn't even 4 yet.
It's like he was crying.
my mom co-produced this.
I'm like,
Man.
and that's the other thing with bands coming in. They're hiring us to produce it. They're hiring you and they come in your studio to produce them. And they hire me and they come in my studio to produce them. When they start taking my ideas and saying, I don't like this, that's cool. But when everything becomes back to them and they're pushing back so hard where I have no say in the song I'm hired to produce, I'm not producing it anymore.
Right. What are you paying
Like,
me for?
why did
exactly?
you hire me?
Just
Why
the
are
guy
you
hanging
paying
out.
me? Like, you like
Tracking.
the records I worked on before. Give me a chance to let you like this one.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing too, is being open to producers. If you're gonna hire a producer, let them do it.
Yeah.
That's why you're paying them.
Now we tracked our last record in at Bay 7 Studios. It's in Hollywood with a producer named Howard Benson, and Howard Benson is really well known, especially in the rock world. He did POD's Satellite record. He's worked with 3 Days Grace and Kelly Clarkson.
All the big rock records.
Gavin DeGraw. He's done so much. He's super awesome, at what he does. One thing that really surprised me, I think it kind of surprised all of us, was on Guitar Day. He came in and said, "I'm going to be really honest. I'm not a guitar guy. I'm not a huge fan of guitars," and which is ironic because he does rock and that's all guitar. But he said guitarists hate me because I will just try to take all the guitars out if I can. So he stayed out. His engineer Mike Plotnikoff actually produced the guitars, and that was pretty cool. When you were talking about giving it a shot, you were saying Justin was asking you about amps, and Mike did that with me with my guitar. They said, normally we don't track with we like to track with our own guitars that we have in studio. We have them set up already. They had a good guitar tech, Mark Van Gool, and they know what each guitar sounds like through each amp, and it's kind of ready to go. And so I plugged my guitar in, and it sounded fantastic. And Mike even actually tried to buy it off of me.
Yeah, we lucked out with the guitars. I brought
Yeah.
mine too. I think Ibanez and PRS won the day, and that's
Yeah.
a tough sell.
Yeah, Paul Reed Smith. Yeah, man, studio etiquette. That I had a studio in New Mexico. It was a house studio, but I took the house and actually I took 2 of the rooms, gutted them, and turned them into a studio to adjacent rooms. And this issue got so bad, I finally had to write it into the contract. But no smoking weed
Yeah.
in my studio.
That's a big one.
This is my home.
In
Also,
the studio. Oh my goodness.
don't do that here. And it was pretty funny.
Dude, what?
In fact, one of those bands was
What? No
was a-
smoking weed in the studio?
Right. Oh man, I tell you what, this he would go out to his truck and smoke and then come back in. And this drummer, man, he played so soft. He was just I could hear his snare drum louder and his kick mic than his own kick drum. It was just hitting it so soft. He was nice and chill. But I think my biggest pet peeve is when you have the guys that are just, listen, you're going to do it my way. I want you to do what I say. Okay, we're going to use this Krank amp. I've got the settings just like I want them and like I like them. And we're going to use this dime bag.
Oh, of course. Well, I've got the Krank amp.
I'm going to use this Dean guitar.
Razorback, or was it the traditional?
It was a Razorback.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Nice.
And no compression, no EQ. Don't touch it. This is how we want it to sound. And and that's really frustrating. You kind of takes the wind out of your sails.
Bass turned all the way up on the cab.
Oh,
That's the way I like it.
oh man.
Getting that
just
sag,
on
man.
stage,
that
man.
Mesa sag. Sure you are, buddy. I have one in my stint here at RMS Studios with people coming in and kind of gleaning from what's going on and showing their interest in having us produce, and then deciding that they are going to be producers.
Oh man.
And if we can mix for them. And honestly, it's a turnoff. Like, why would we want to mix your guys' stuff? We know that you've never produced anything. You're not going to get good takes. You're not going to get good tones. And then I'm going to go in and try to mix it? Like, probably not.
But there's a really important element to producing and having a producer who's not someone in your band, right? What do you think of that, man?
Highly important. I mean, it's happened. I mean, Wilco produced themselves, and other seasoned bands who have been around for years, after they've been produced by other producers, then will go on to produce their stuff. But very seldom outside of the hip hop realm do people come along where they've self-produced their record and it gone somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's because they're too married to their sound, or they're not seasoned in the industry and they don't know what it takes.
Yeah, I don't know what sound.
They don't know what they're doing. They made that call to you because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's the same reason I tell people to co-write with other people and don't just write a song by yourself. It's because 10 out of 10 songs in the top 10 right now were written by at least two people. 10 out of 10 albums on the top 10 right now are produced by people not in the band.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great point. And that's a huge pet peeve of mine too. When free advice, because they're friends. I'm a friendly guy. I talk to everybody and I have no problem with people. So that gives people kind of an open door to go, hey, what do you do with this? Cool. And then what do you do with this?
The ball starts rolling.
30 minutes later, they're like, through 2 notepads of paper and
If I send you a session, will you just like load everything?
Can you
for
take a
me?
listen to this and let me know what it sounds like?
Yeah.
And then it's like, which I have no problem doing. But when they're like, hey, what's my homeboy hookup rate? For like, I mean, on a budget.
Right. Everybody's on
I'm
a
a
budget.
friend on a budget. Kind of don't have a lot of money. Would you mix it for?
Yeah. Or even worse. So what would you do differently?
Yeah.
What I don't know. Why don't you pay me and I'll mix it and I'll do it differently.
It's like I need a phone consulting fee.
You should. There's probably guys that do that.
There are people that do that.
That'd be smart.
But I hate talking on the phone, so I don't want to do it
Yeah.
at all.
Man. Yeah. Self-producing. It's kind of one of the big dangers of, we were talking about technology and being able to not spend a lot of money to record and get great sounds. The fact that anyone can record and get great sounds doesn't mean that everyone does record and get great sounds.
Right.
And just like you said it perfectly. People are too married to their sound, their songs, and they love it. And there's a lot more to a producer than engineering. Engineering is one thing, that's capturing the sounds and getting them to be good. But then producing is saying, this is the sound we need.
Creating the parts.
Exactly.
Taking things out. Adding things. Coming up with melodies that weren't there previously, or altering the ones you guys came up with.
Yeah.
Like, you've been in a band before.
And then on the other side of that same coin, there's also something to be said for having someone's name on the back of your album or on your song or in the credits saying, Robert Venable produced this song, and this is what Robert Venable's done. And when, depending on where they're trying to go in their career, that could mean a lot.
It could mean if my name's on it, it's probably gonna be a coaster. I just put it right here on on their
We
coffee
need
table.
coasters.
Put it.
We need signature coasters.
We produce some more records so we can have some coasters. No, but for real, having someone in the music industry who knows what they're doing, who has achieved some success by virtue of their producing, tells other people in the industry, hey, this band, this artist who is willing to go to this person, and this person, okay, this person's stamp is on it, Robert Venable's stamp is on this record, then we know we're probably going to like it, and the majority of everyone else is probably going to like it. If we're a radio station, then yeah, we'll play it. That's cool, or a manager, whatever.
You brought up a point that's you probably weren't intending to, putting a stamp on it, and this is advice for people. I mean, it was advice to me at one point, and it's great advice for me to share it with other people, I think, who are wanting to get into producing. So say you're in a band and you want to produce yourself, and you decide after listening to this, it's not a good idea. Produce somebody else's band. Fine. Here's the thing. Even though you don't know what you're doing, you need to treat this record as if it's the best thing you've ever done in your life that you're producing. If you're going to produce a record and you're not good, you're not a, Howard Benson or whatever, then spend as much time on it as you would if someone was paying you $1 million to produce that record. Because that's your business card. When you put your name on there saying, I produced this, people are going to listen to it and go, if it's great, man, who produced this? And see my name on it. If they look at it and it's horrible and like, who produced this? Because I'm like, they only paid me this rate instead of this rate. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's an easy trap to fall into when like, oh man, I'm only getting paid this, but I needed the money. So I'll just, whatever, they're only paying this. That's done. My name's on that. Yeah, my name's on that. So they're going to see that and it's like, wait, Robert Venable produced this? But he's worked on all these records and he did this. Are you sure it's the same guy? That will kill my business because I don't have business cards. I don't have a constant flow. I don't have a storefront where people are like coming in to shop for cars. They come in and shop for producers and like, oh, take that one. The only reason they're hearing my name is because they're looking at records that they've heard and say, who produced that, and see something positive and my name's there. So I'm working on Kelly Clarkson or working on the guy who works at Sears. I'm going to treat it, use the same gear, same microphones, same exact treatment because this is what they may have saved up for 2 years to come record with me. Hopefully not, because that'd be a waste of money. But but to them, this is their time in the studio. For me, it's another day. I work with him. I work with the next guy the next day, or the next month, and the next band. And it's easy to fall into that. For me, even after doing this for 11 years, I got to remember this is their first time in the studio. Or this is their time in the studio, and they've been waiting for this moment. I got to treat this like
my life.
Sing it, bro. So that's a big thing. Your stamp on things is your name. That's your reputation, and it only takes one bad record for people to go, oh, he's the guy who did that.
Yeah.
Takes one Rebecca Black Friday.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was just listening to that song like 2 weeks ago. It popped up somehow. I'm like, this is horrible.
I want to go back to that storefront comment. You were saying, you're not in a storefront. It's not like cars and things. I want to add to that, Robert Venable. If you were in a storefront, I would buy you.
Oh, but there's so many better cars out there.
Well, you're not a car.
That's true.
A couple of skateboards, rope.
A chain link.
Well,
I would like to buy this piece of chain link.
let's wrap this up on something random and ridiculous. Anybody got anything random and ridiculous? I was thinking like
Favorite iPhone app? What's your favorite iPhone app?
I don't have an iPhone, so that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
The only guy in the room
phone
with an
app.
iPhone app.
Fighting words.
What is your app that you go to when you do number 2?
Ooh, well,
What's your number
I
2
mean,
app?
aside from the usual
I've got that.
Instagram,
No.
Let me look at my phone. So I'm prepared for this.
man, I'm pretty lame.
It's kind of hard to beat, Facebook and Instagram.
I've got 2 apps that are my quiet time apps. And it is an app called 1010.
What's that?
It's a grid with 10 blocks by 10 blocks, and then you have 3 blocks to choose from that are different shapes and sizes and lengths, and you have to connect 10 blocks in a row and they disappear, and it's kind of like Tetris kind of, but yeah, I know it's stupid, but I love that app. And
That's fun.
my other one is Plunder Pirates.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the vein of
dang.
Clash of Clans.
I was
and-
rocking Clash of
and that
Clans
sort
for
of
a while,
thing.
but it got old. The clan fizzled out.
I think my clan's fizzling right now.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, whatever. We were trying to have these like strategic moments at night. We'd all gather online and play, but it just turned into a joke. I'm into like really nerdy stuff, so I like Flipboard. I have Flipboard set up to all my favorite things. I'll just scroll through photography and quantum mechanics in the science section, news. I'm all about that, staying informed.
Oh man, you just reminded me of this one. Actually, might trump those other two apps, and it's called Smile a Lot, and it is just an app. It's I don't know if you can see it there in that corner over there, but it's just a black square with a white smile, and it is just nothing but funny pictures with funny captions, and that's all it is. You scroll through it. You can submit your own pictures, and I guess some panel of judges, I don't know, decides whether or not it actually makes it onto there. But
That's funny.
every day they update it with 20 or 30 new pictures, and it's just the stupidest, funniest stuff.
What are you doing, Luke?
Thinking
What's
about
your favorite app?
Instagram
What's
now.
your favorite app?
Man, Instagram hands down. It's like Facebook is a thing, and then but then pictures worth 1,000 words. So I like follow bikers, people I know. Skaverson guitars just is my. I just scroll through Skaverson guitars all day long.
Bikers for the pictures of motorcycles, or
Yeah,
for the
man,
thug
pictures
life?
of just thug life, just
that
like
guy.
leather jackets. I mean,
Oh,
I
he's
even
definitely an
put
attorney.
like a
that beard.
huge, like biting bear on the back of my freaking jean jacket.
Luke's got the heart of a biker.
Yeah, without the bike, just
No one has to know.
just
That's-
the chain wallet.
Just carry a helmet in when you go into restaurants.
Pick up some, go to Applebee's. Yo, what's up, girl?
Slam it down on the bar.
Hey, what's up, girl?
He's an aggressive
Water,
driver
please.
in his car. He wears a helmet.
I am. You've saved my life a couple times.
we could go into that for a
right
while.
out in the
but-
front, right in front of Red Oak Cafe.
Yeah.
Drop it. She's awesome. And I almost just T-boned this dude. He saved my life.
T-bone.
That's-
Well, I mean, countless median crossings and turning right when he should have turned left, and yeah. But I forget.
I'm
We're
dyslexic,
still
so
here.
the whole right and left thing, I'm still
I
trying to
tell him
figure
right,
that
he go
out,
left
so.
into the
Great for
barricade.
driving.
All right, you're up, Robert. What's your favorite?
Right now,
app?
and this is only a week new to me, is Madden Mobile. I don't even watch football.
I saw you playing that earlier.
Yeah, I never been a sports guy because I've been in the studio my whole life. So it's I don't know what's going on outside of the four walls of my control room. But somebody said, oh, my son came home from school. So can I get Madden Mobile? So I put it on his little iPod thing. And now I'm playing it with him. And now I'm playing it more than he is. And so that's
It's
that. But
getting
outside of like,
Family fun.
yeah.
Everybody's playing it.
Come on, guys, let's get on Madden football. Other than that, it's like standard Instagram, Twitter, social media stuff. I was Clash of Clans.
I have to think about social media. I have to remember to get on it.
It's so powerful,
And it is.
especially for what we do.
Oh no, it is. It is. But I have to. Here's what I have to do: is try to remember that it's there. Remember to get on it and just have fun and interact. I'm busy. I have 2 kids, a wife, and as we all do, except for Luke,
Well, we know about.
that we know. Yeah, right. No, but yeah, and so I don't even think about it. Hopping on, and when I do, it's like, oh yeah, I should promote my studio or promote that I'm and I don't want it to turn into just advertising.
You gotta
and-
promote it without it looking like you're promoting it.
right? That's the trick. And on to our next topic of this. I'm just kidding.
Promoting without looking like you're promoting.
Yes. You've actually
That'll be next week.
You've actually given me some good pointers.
It works for
Yeah.
everything. Thanks for
cool.
having me on.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yes,
Thanks for
thank you.
for hanging out with us.
Thanks,
and
man.
Blessing us with your presence.
That was I ate burritos earlier.
I was wondering what you were blessing us with
The
exactly.
aroma of Tacoma going on in here, y'all.
Y'all. Well, cool. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this week. Thanks so much for listening and watching on YouTube. This is the Ruin Radio Vodcast. You guys rock, and we'll be back next week with some more stupidity.
Bye.
Sweet.
Bye.